Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Andy the Mad Tatter, and welcome back for August 2019's Sales Roundup Part 2. Or indeed, welcome if this is the first video that you're watching on the channel. There is a Part 1 to this video as well, which you'll be able to find if you click into my little icon. This will cover us from the 15th or the 16th of August through to the end, and we'll also talk about the total profits for the month, and I'll also go into the figures for advertising and stuff like that as well. So, without further ado, 16th of August. Harley Davidson Knight Rider teddy bear. I've spoken about these in videos before now. I've sold a few of them and they seem to always do reasonably well. They're an item that you can pick up relatively inexpensively, and I think the same sort of thinking with this would apply to other kind of automotive branded teddy bears and mascots and stuff like that. I know, for instance, that Land Rover make some teddy bears which can command quite good prices. So always think about cult vehicles and things like that that have a massive following, and all of the little associated offshoot merchandise that they make for stuff like that, because it generally always is in demand. The good thing with these is they all have a number, so you can look up the number and find out what year it was produced more often than not. There are a couple that I've had in the past that have been struggled to date, but this one I was able to find out was 2006. It's called the Knight Rider because he's in a little pyjama onesie thing there with all the Harley Davidson logo on it and whatnot. This was a charity shop pickup, cost £1, sold for £19.94 and made £11.73 after shipping and fees. Also received positive feedback from the buyer on that one. Sticking with the 16th of August, this is New Tricks Season 8 DVD box set. This is another one that came from a big bundle of DVDs, which ended up becoming so cheap that some were free. So this sold for £11.94 and made £7.67 after shipping and fees on that one. Another album from around the house. Just been given a few albums by my parents that they want me to sell for them, so there's no cost price associated with this one. This is Prince 1999, the 1982 pressing. Again, as I've said before in previous videos, I have no aspirations to be a vinyl dealer, so I just find out every single thing I can about each individual sort of record that I list, and put it all in the listing description. And also in the listing description I say, look, I'm not a vinyl dealer, so if I haven't covered anything here that you want to know, do feel free, get in touch, send me a message, and I'll help you as best as I can. So there's no cost price against this one. It sold for £24.94 and made £17.49 after shipping and fees. We did also receive positive feedback from the buyer there. 17th of August, this is a 1980s sensor computer chess. This might have actually been in one of my pickups videos, because I kind of remember talking about the Systema before. Systema is the, from my understanding of it anyway, is one of the... what's the word? I'm really bad with words at the moment. I mean, I'm never too great with them in the first place, but at the moment, words are just eluding me completely. It's the programming. Systema, as far as I'm aware, is the programming that's put into some of these automated chess games that you play. You know, the programming that you play against is called Systema. This is Systema CG2. This was actually manufactured. This unit is actually manufactured by Salter originally, but this one was a licensed version, I think. Yeah, I think this was a licensed version by somebody else, hence why I put by Salter in the title. But yeah, all fully working, as you can see on the pictures there. Always power these things up, give them a good test and everything. This one cost £2. This was a car boot pickup, I want to say. Yeah, £2 at a car boot, all complete with spare pieces and stuff like that as well. It was in really good condition, didn't really look like it had much play. Had the original box and everything as well, which is quite important with some of these vintage items. I've spoken before about these chess sets, and if you ever see them made by Cytec, particularly the ones that are Cytec and are endorsed by chess grandmaster Garry Kasparov, they command really good money. Whether you've got the boxes or not, they can do incredibly well, some of those. So the Cytec, that's S-A-I-T-E-K, and they're made, as I say, under the Garry Kasparov branding. They tend to do quite well. So this one cost £2, sold to £34.94, and after shipping and fees made £23.42 on that one. However, there's a little bit of a bonus with this, which I'll go into in a moment. 18th of August 2019. This is the genuine Apple A1385 US spec power adapter. The US spec power adapters are really cool because their sockets only have the 2 pins on them. So this is literally just like a little, if you've never seen one of these before, it is literally just a tiny little cube with 2 little prongs coming off it. So they look kind of cool compared to our big sort of UK triangular jobbies. Not that I'm an Apple user myself, but anywho. This, again, came in a bundle of plugs and cables. Always put travel adapter in the title for things like this, because chances are that's what you're going to sell it for. You're going to sell it if you've got foreign made or foreign compatible adapters. Chances are you're going to sell it to somebody who's going on holiday and doesn't want to trust their £1,000 iPhone to a pound shop converter. So, which is understandable. So I always put travel adapter in there. I've never sold one to anybody in the US or in the EU. They've always been to people in the UK, so I assume it's for people going on holiday and stuff like that. So this one came out of a bundle, cost 25p, sold for £10.94 and made £6.35 after shipping and fees on that one. This was a bit of older stock on the 18th of August. This was the Fiorelli faux leather handbag. Fiorelli, great name in bags. If you can pick them up cheap enough, they'll always do well for you. They do make some leather bags, but I think the overwhelming majority of their modern stuff actually isn't leather. So always do check the labels, because it'll always tell you what they are. Because even some of their fake leather stuff is actually quite convincing, and you could be forgiven in the heat of the moment for picking them up thinking they are leather. Yeah, this was a bit of old stock. Had this one sat for a little while, so took an offer on it. Sold it for £25, cost $7.99 and made $8.72 after shipping and fees. 19th of August, men's Hugo Boss Alabama jeans. Cost $7.99, charity shop pickup. Sold for $54.94 and made $33.42 after shipping and fees on that one. And that went on the global shipping program to Germany. Hugo Boss jeans, I haven't done as well with as I have with some of the other brands, but in fairness, I've not had as many pairs of them. So with things like diesel jeans, I sell quite a lot of those. Levi's at the moment seem to be doing particularly well, for me anyway. And the Hugo Boss ones that I've had have been trickling out sort of fairly steadily. So yeah, happy with those. That's a good sale. Good profit on that one. 19th of August, another one from the vinyl collection. This is In Excess Kick, 1987 pressing of their I don't think it was their debut album, but it's certainly their sort of most critically acclaimed album. Sold for $24.94, and after shipping and fees made $17.25 on that one. 19th of August again. This is a vintage Minolta Himatic 7S 35mm camera. I've recently started dipping my toe into these cameras, specifically the metal-bodied cameras, as opposed to kind of more modern stuff. I don't want to go too expensive and go too far back, so I've not gone into anything like bellows-type cameras or anything like that yet. I feel with these, to a certain degree, I feel more comfortable with these metal-bodied cameras because there's minimal electronic components or anything like that in them. A lot of it is essentially mechanical. Excuse me. So in terms of things to go wrong, it kind of minimises it there because there isn't the electronic element, and quite often you can test them quite effectively as well. Just even, if you pick one up off a table at a car boot or off a shelf in a charity shop, you can do a quick on-the-spot test with it of just cycling the mechanism, checking that the shutter releases and stuff like that. So they're quite good in that respect. This one flew out. This sold within 24 hours of being listed. It was a car boot pickup for £2. The camera itself was absolutely fantastic condition. Came with the original case and everything as well. I didn't have to do anything to this at all. I just gave it an external wipe over with some microfiber cloths, and it was absolutely ready to go. So it's obviously been in the case for a very long time and not had a great deal of use. The good thing with this type of technology, and certainly most technologies from this type of era, they're in a position at the moment for us as resellers where it's kind of prime time. And this is probably something that, saying it on a video is going to potentially damage the market, but my YouTube channel is not massive, so I don't think it's going to have that much of an effect in the wider market. But this era of technology, at the moment, it's in this position where the people who are wanting to get rid of it because they've had it since it was new or they've had it for years, they have a really low perception of its value, so they'll quite often let things like this go very, very cheaply or won't be asking a lot of money for them at all. But they also, on the flip side, have a real dedicated following and a collector's market, and you know, that the phrase of they don't make them like they used to and stuff like that. It's very true. So there are a lot of diehards out there for cameras like this and for this type, you know, for the old film format and stuff as well, the 35mm film format. So even with older technologies, like I showed you in part 1 of the video there, we had the old digital answering machine. That, again, is one of those things that the person getting rid of it wouldn't have thought it was worth a lot because it's old. But in actual fact, to somebody these days who needs something digital because we're in the digital age, but wants something that's more simplistic and perhaps, you know, wants something that isn't connected to the cloud and can't be hacked and this and that and the other. There's lots of different ways to think about the types of products that you pick up and lots of different kind of considerations to put in. And as I say, I've said in videos before, if you're in your 30s or 40s now, you can think back to the stuff that you had as a kid and think back to the stuff that you saw around you growing up. And a lot of those things, they're the things that now are starting to become vintage and retro, and people are starting to want to buy them again. So definitely kind of keep that sort of thinking in mind to a certain degree as well. So this one cost £2 from a car boot. As I say, it sold within about 24 hours of being listed. It sold for £46.94 and made £36.09 after shipping and fees. It went on the global shipping program to France as well. So that was a really nice camera, that one. I will definitely be looking out for that specific model again. That's the Minolta Highmatic 7S. 20th of August, men's Levi 520 tapered fit jeans. I said a few moments ago, Levi's have been doing okay for me just lately. I went through a bit of a phase of having loads of them listed and them not really selling because I was selling a lot of diesel jeans, so it now kind of almost completely flipped on its head and the diesel jeans have slowed down and the Levi's have taken off. I can't complain. As long as these things are selling, I'm not complaining. This particular pair cost £3. They sold for $34.94 and made $21.74 after shipping and fees on those. Interestingly, they did go on global shipping to the USA. And I always think with something that is such an iconic American brand, you know, the fact that they've bought it from a European seller, is it a case of I've got something really rare there or something that I didn't realise I had? But either way, I'm happy with the money that I made on them, so I shouldn't dwell on things like that. Received positive feedback from the buyer on those as well, so happy days. 20th of August again, Roxy Tropical Floral Tote Bag. This was something that Joe bought for a holiday a few years ago that we never ended up going on because it was cancelled by the provider. We were going to be going to Egypt and then we just weren't because it was all cancelled. And I won't go into too many political details as to why. Because, yeah, why would you? Anyway, 20th of August, Tropical... This thing here. No cost against it because we already owned it. Sold for $21.94 and made $13.73 after shipping and fees on that one. Nice bag. Men's Hugo Boss orange label striped shirt on the 20th of August again. This was another one of those shirts that I bought because I thought I'll try and sell it, and if it doesn't sell, it's not the end of the world because I'll wear it myself. And it was a really nice shirt, sort of a multi-layered kind of effect to it with... like a velvet trim around the hem as well. It was really nicely finished, as you would expect from Hugo Boss, in all fairness. That one cost $5.99, sold for $33.94 and made $18.60 after shipping and fees there on that one. 20th of August, Philips personal CD player. Paid up a bit on this one, and I do remember buying it, but I didn't remember paying that much for it. Personal CD players still do quite well, particularly from your good consumer electronics brands like obviously Sony, Philips, etc. This one cost £4, sold for $24.94 and made $13.52 after shipping and fees. I honestly thought I'd only paid a couple of quid or something for that, but obviously I paid $4. It did have the original instruction manual with it as well, so that kind of gives it a little bit of extra gravitas when it comes to selling. Had positive feedback from the buyer as well there. 21st of August, this was the Sony SAir iPod 30-pin speaker system. So this is kind of a multi-room system that you can link up and kind of keep adding speakers to if you need to. They have a little block. If you ever pick one of these up, make sure you do have the little SAir wireless transceivers. They're a little block, just look like a little black... I'm illustrating things on screen again and you have no point of reference for the size. They're probably about the size of a matchbox. Is the best way I can describe them. They're a little black block and they plug into the back of each unit, and that's what actually enables them to connect to each other. So if you ever pick up an SAir unit and it doesn't have those transceivers in them, it's pretty well worthless as it is. It's only going to be something that you can sell as parts. You definitely need those transceivers. I've got them actually on the picture just at the bottom there, but again, that gives you no frame of reference for the size of them or what they even look like. So this item costs £10, and as with all iPod 30-pin stuff, I'll always put in the listing description that it may be possible to use a 30-pin to lightning 30-pin to lightning converter to make it work with modern Apple stuff. I never guarantee it, and I always make sure the words "it may be possible" to make it work with a 30-pin to lightning connector are in there, not "it is possible." That just kind of covers me for any sort of chance of somebody saying, well, you said it'd work with a lightning and it doesn't. And no, I never said that. I'll still take the return on it. If it turns out that it doesn't work with somebody's equipment, I'll always take a return on things like that. But I won't sort of go out of, I won't be told that I've missold the item in that sense. So this one cost £10. It was all boxed up. It had all of its instruction manuals and everything with it. It was a complete package, so there was no, nothing missing from it. Everything complete, as you would buy it brand new from the shop, obviously, except for used. Sold for £66.94 and made £31.36 after shipping and fees on that one. This now, going back to when I said there was a little bit of a bonus from the sensor computer chess a few items ago, this actually sold a few days later to the same buyer. He came back to me and bought this one as well. You may remember if you've seen on I think it's my most recent haul video that I did, whenever that was. It was a few months ago now, guys, and for that I apologise. I spoke about this chessboard. I picked it up for sort of £2. It was a marble chessboard, and I said it was my favourite item in that particular video because whatever I did with it, whether I sold it on its own or whether I put it with a nice set of pieces to add value to a package like that, I was going to make reasonably good money on it. And sure enough, yeah, can't argue with that at all. I managed to pick up a chess set locally at a charity shop quite cheaply. The board that came with that was like a hardwood inlaid board. It's actually quite nice and I've still got it. But it had a huge watermark all the way across it. So what it basically needs is sanding back and restaining to get the watermark out of it. But I thought rather than going to all the trouble of doing that just yet, let's see how the pieces that came with it looked with the marble board that I already had. And sure enough, they looked pretty good. Now, I looked up... there are quite a few websites out there that specialise in chess boards and chess sets and things like that. And it's always worth looking at some of these big chess retailers just for points of reference and comparison if you've ever got a chess set in front of you that you can't identify yourself for whatever reason. So, with kind of my previous knowledge of the jewellery trade, I've got a pretty good feel for certain materials and things like that. And this brand, Berkeley, I looked them up on a website, or I came across them on a website that I was looking at the time, and the particular way the pieces were described was that they were crushed stone cast in resin, and from the feel of the pieces and from kind of rubbing one on my teeth, in all honesty, as well, you could tell that it was rough and that it was a porous thing, and that it wasn't like a like a plastic or a fancy plastic or anything like that. So hence that kind of led me to Berkeley as being a possible manufacturer of these pieces. I then went and looked through loads and loads of different Berkeley chess sets for pieces that were similar to this. I couldn't find exactly the same one. I did find similar looking ones, but certainly nothing that looked identical to the ones that I had. So hence, I didn't sell it as Berkeley, I sold it as Berkeley Style, and it was a Renaissance theme, so they kind of had that sort of Middle Ages style of dress and stuff like that there, maybe a little bit later than the medieval period though. And of course, that was on the big marble onyx agate whatever board that I showed you previously. So all told, that item cost £5. That's with the £2 for the chessboard and the £3 I paid for the other set. That must have been a car boot pickup because I can't see me having picked up a chess set for that kind of money in a charity shop. People in charity shops are starting to get a little bit more keen with the pricing on them. So sold for £151.94 to the same buyer that bought the electronic chess set from me a few days prior. and made $105.88 after shipping and fees on that one. That is as good as a home run as you're ever going to get, I think, on an item like that. And as I say, to have that return customer as well, and that repeat business within such a short space of time, that was quite a nice little buzz for me as well. So that was cool. That was a great sale, and that's probably the best item of the month, all told, to be honest. But carrying on, 21st of August, another Midsomer Murders set from the big DVD bundle, so no cost price against that one. Sold for $17.94, made $12.98 after shipping and fees. August 23rd of August then, Timberland Earthkeepers Blackville jeans. These, again, I've had for over a year. One of the first clothing items I picked up on the sort of thinking of, well, I wear Timberland and I like it, so why wouldn't anybody else? What I didn't notice at the time that I picked them up, and this was just because my eye wasn't as attuned as it is now, bearing in mind this is when I was first starting out, somebody had obviously worn them turned up for a long period of time, and where they'd been turned up, it had kind of worn a line into the denim, sort of across the leg. So I didn't notice that when I bought them, I only noticed that when I got them home. So rather than take them back, I listed them anyway, and I just listed them relatively cheap for what they were. So these have been listed for easily a year. They cost $6.99, which again is probably too much to have paid for them in the first place, but it was one of the first things I bought. And they sold for $24.94, made $9.70 after shipping and fees, with positive feedback received from the buyer. So even though they did have that little imperfection in them, and I declared that little imperfection, buyer was still happy with them. So good stuff. 24th of August, this was another item that I've had for ages. And again, this was me sort of jumping in both feet first when I'd seen that another YouTuber, I forget who it was at the time, because this was a year or so ago now, but I'd seen that another YouTuber had done well with a couple of fishing reels. And they were particular fishing reels. You know, when I think back to it now, they were probably some really high-end brand that this YouTuber had perhaps picked up and not realised what they were, and then they had some serious value to them under investigation. But in my kind of keenness to become a reseller and my keenness to get started and start making my own sort of income and making my own life in that sense, I think my brain just kind of shortcutted that to say, buy fishing reels because you can make loads of money on them. Yeah, it's not the case. Especially when you don't really know anything about them either. I literally just bought the first fishing reels I saw at a car boot because I'd seen somebody else do okay with them. And this, again, touches on something that I've said in previous videos and bears repeating, so I will say it again. Just because you're seeing people on YouTube, and this even includes me, you know, any person you're seeing on YouTube selling stuff and saying, I'm making X, Y, Z on it, it doesn't always stand to reason that you're going to make that too. There's a lot of different factors that go into determining how much an individual makes on an item, and it isn't just a case of, well, I've got this item, you've got this item, so I should be able to make the same money as you, or you should be able to make the same money as me. People's ability levels are different. You know, people are going to take better photos, people are going to take worse photos, people are going to do better descriptions, people are going to be able to categorize the item better, people are going to have other items in the same sort of category of their eBay store and things like that. So that's going to end up pushing their items that little bit further than perhaps it would with yours if you were in, you know, the opposite situation. So don't always assume, even with what I tell you, or that any YouTuber tells you, don't always assume that you can buy the same thing you've seen somebody else sell and do as well on it. It doesn't always work that way. A lot of the time it does, don't get me wrong. It's not impossible to make money on things because you've seen other people make money on it. But this is a good case in point. I bought fishing reels because I thought fishing reels were good money. I sat on this for a year. It cost me $5, sold for $19.94, and made $7.73 after shipping and fees. So yeah, and they're quite a bulky thing as well, and they're an awkward shape, so they take up an awkward space, and more space than you would think that they reasonably would. 24th of August, this is back to some more of my kind of bread and butter stuff. This is the ladies' Berghaus Deluge AQ2 Hydra Shell Jacket. Absolutely love selling Berghaus products. I have a real passion for their products and a real passion for their brand. certain other outdoor brands and stuff as well, absolutely. Outdoor clothing, I am quite an outdoorsy person to a certain extent, so outdoor clothing, equipment, accessories, things like that, it's always something that is on my radar. And my very first job when I left school, in fact, it was my weekend job when I was in school, and then it turned into a part-time job as I left school. I was actually working for an outdoor kind of supplies retailer for probably about 6 months or so or something like that. So I hung on to a lot of information from that even back then, just because it was something that I was kind of enthusiastic about and passionate about myself. So this one, waterproof, windproof and breathable. As the AQ2 fabric is. It was a Hydra shell jacket, so it's just a single layer, quite thin. The idea is it's something that you can fold up and pack away, and if the heavens open, you can throw it on really quickly. It's not insulated or anything like that. It's not designed as a 3-in-1 where you can zip a fleece into it. It is literally just a quick and easy waterproof layer. So this one costs £7. Actually still available, new from Berghaus as well, or it was at the time that I listed this, certainly, because the RRP was £90 on that one. So sold for $48.94 and made a profit of $29.81. Also received positive feedback from the buyer on that one. It was in amazing condition too, this one. It was one of those things that were, pretty much as good as new. 25th of August, Sennheiser PXC 252. Folding noise-cancelling headphones. This was another item that sold within, I think, about 2 days of being listed, so really quick sale on these. Sennheiser, again, it's another brand that I've come into contact with through the time that I spent in a band, so I'm familiar with the quality of their products across the board, so microphones, headphones, things like that. Certainly, I dabble a little bit in certain sort of PC games and stuff like that, and have dabbled in some games over the years, and Sennheiser headsets for gaming have always been superb and things like that as well. So Sennheiser, top quality audio brand, definitely worth looking out for. These folding noise cancelling headphones cost £3 on a car boot. Sold within about 48 hours of being listed for $44.94 and made $33.16 after shipping and fees on those. Definitely look out for Sennheiser stuff. 26th of August, Get Smart CCTV Camera System. This speaks a little bit to what I was talking about in the earlier on there, about people who want to get with the times but still need a certain degree of simplicity, or that degree of security that they can't sort of be dialed into and hacked. And this was a really sort of relatively basic CCTV camera system that would plug directly into a TV. Everything in the box was supplied to enable it to do what it needed to do. You can plug it directly into your TV, and you can either have it on sort of full time, so you've always got the playback on screen, or it's got a motion sensor in there as well, a PIR, passive infrared motion sensor, and that will make the TV switch to the channel if there's motion. So it's quite a good little kit, but it's not an IP camera, so it's not something that's kind of linked to the internet or anything like that. And if you've seen, I don't know if it's still the case, to be honest with you, because it's not something that I use myself, but I'd certainly know a year or so ago there were a lot of instances where people's IP cameras were being hacked and broadcast on websites and things like that. Obviously, this plugs directly into a TV with a good old-fashioned SCART cable, so you're not going to have that concern with this. It's not going to be something that people can hack, but similarly, it's going to be nice and easy to install and nice and easy to use. So it's still going to have that desirability in that sense. Cost £4. It was a charity shop pickup, this one. Sold for $36.94 and made $23.14 after shipping and fees, and also had positive feedback from the buyer. 26th of August. Oh, I love this item. This is one of my favourite items, possibly, that I've ever sold. It's definitely up there with the Rolls Razor. It's not the most profitable item necessarily. It's not even, really speaking, the most sort of intricate or interesting item, but I just think it's so cool. This is the vintage 1970s Ecolac vinyl covered briefcase. And it really gave me the vibes of Michael Douglas in Falling Down, and I actually put Falling Down in the title because I had a bit of space left over and I couldn't think of anything else to put in there, so I put Falling Down in there. And this is actually sold to a company based at Shepperton Studios. So this is probably going to be a prop or go into a props department or something like that. So that's kind of cool in itself. This cost £4, sold for £44.94 and made £20.81 after shipping and fees on that one. Really cool and usable briefcase. Even if it hadn't gone to this studio and like a prop department, it is something that I can see people using even today, to be honest with you, because it was really sturdy, really nicely built, really well put together, and just kind of, although it was clearly, you know, a 1970s style, you can tell by things like the font that's used on it and stuff like that. Well, it's clearly an older piece. It's still very usable today. I had the combination for it as well, and it was relatively easy to reset the combination. So it was a very usable piece in as much as it went to a props department. Somebody could have still quite easily bought that to use. And in fact, I have recently just picked up another one, completely by chance, at another local charity shop. Not quite the same, but definitely by the same manufacturer. So there's something that I'll be looking out for more and more as time goes on, because I just think they're really cool. 27th of August, this is a vintage 1920s, 30s dainty flat iron. I call it dainty flat iron because that's what it has actually stamped and embossed in the centre of it there. I found a website which you can look up these types of things on. And there are a number of different websites actually out there, but the one that I've looked at and the company, they are a shop as well, from what I can tell. The company's called Below Stairs. I'll leave a link to them down below. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, and I don't get any kickbacks or anything like that for recommending them to you. But certainly, if you've got vintage household items, it's a really good place to start looking for pricing on them. This was an old style flat iron, or what is sometimes referred to as a sad iron, which is the old English word for solid. So this one had obviously been painted as well. Somebody'd done I'd hesitate to say restoration on it, but somebody'd obviously kind of customised it just for decorative purposes. Sold quite quickly, within a week I would say this sold. Paid £1.50 for it, sold for £36.94 and made £26.08 after shipping and fees on that one. 27th of August, another one of my kind of staple items, Sharp PA3000 electric typewriter. This one cost £6.25, which was a charity shop pickup, I believe, and possibly that price might include buying a ribbon for it from memory. Yes, it did. It was £4.25 for a ribbon, and it wasn't a... Right, it's come back to me now. It wasn't a charity shop pickup, it was a car boot pickup, and it was £2 because the lady selling it said it needed a ribbon. So I then went and bought a ribbon for it, and it didn't need a ribbon. So it cost me £6.25 ultimately. Sold for £61.94, made £29 exactly after shipping and fees on that one. 28th of August, this is the Xbox 360 Splinter Cell game bundle. Again, these are original releases for the Xbox 360, although they don't have the black band like the PlayStation 2 games do. They're still not... I think the re-releases on the Xbox ones tend to have a silver sort of border around the cover. That's how you can tell the difference from memory, but don't quote me on that one. Splinter Cell game bundle. These came in a bundle of games and DVDs. I think these might have actually been in the big bundle of DVDs, and there were just a couple of games that slipped in there. So no cost against them. Sold for $18.49 and made $11.87 after shipping and fees, with positive feedback from the buyer. Still on the 28th of August 2019, this is the Poldark Complete DVD Collection, Series 1 and 2 of the original BBC 1970s series. It has recently been remade to a lot of critical acclaim, so I think that's probably what's reignited the interest in the old series. This came as part of the big bundle of DVDs that you've heard me talk about a few times, so consequently has no cost price. It sold for $17.94 and made $11.39 after shipping and fees. Also received positive feedback from the buyer on that one. 28th of August again, this is the Jellycat Chimbu Puppy plush toy. Jellycat's a brand made for sort of early years, young children, infants, things like that. They make soft toys, blankies, comforters, those types of things. I've spoken about them before in videos. They do also have quite a sort of dedicated collector's following. So this one was a 2012 retired design. Once these Jellycats become retired, they do the prices I think do start going up on them from what I've seen. I'm by no means an expert on them. They're not something that I pick up huge numbers of. I would if I could, because you can pick them up relatively cheaply and sell, make reasonable money on them. Albeit this one didn't sell particularly quickly, I'll be honest. So it cost $1.99, sold for $34.94, and made $23.51 after shipping and fees on that one. 29th of August, we got the Horrible Histories Rotten Romans DVD. This is sort of an educational animated comedy type series for kids. Follows a lot of different periods in history and things like that, but also goes across a lot of different media, so you can buy toys and games about it, of it, and things like that as well. I think you might have seen previously I've sold jigsaws based on the Horrible History series as well. It was a new and sealed DVD, picked up at a charity shop that somebody had obviously never watched, so it cost 99p, sold for $6.94, made $2.75 after shipping and fees on that one. 29th of August, this is some Maplin dead stock. It was a USB 2 cable, boxed, sealed and brand new. You might have heard me mention I bought a big £65 bundle of stuff from a house clearance before now, and it was essentially, they were a couple who were clearing out some of their stuff from their house, but they'd also been doing a few car boot sales and stuff like that themselves, so they were clearing out stock from that. And obviously part of that stock was a load of dead stock cables from Maplin. Maplin was an electronics retailer in the UK, much like Radio Shack or something like that in the US. They did go bust a couple of years ago, maybe a year or so ago now. So a lot of this sort of stuff made its way through into liquidation companies and different avenues like that. So consequently, there's a lot of it on the resale market. I don't expect it to be a massive seller. I don't expect them to fly off the shelves or anything like that. I think they will just trickle out very slowly over a period of time. But to be fair, they've only cost me between 85 and 86p each, so they're not something I've got a huge amount of money tied up in. And also that particular bundle of stuff, the £65 bundle, that has been paid back many, many times now. Well, I wouldn't go many, many times. It's certainly been paid back a few times over now through these sales of the other items out of there. So, these are just a little bit of pocket money, essentially, when these sell, if you like. So this one was an 86p cost, sold for $5.94, made $1.81 after shipping and fees. Dead easy to post as well. Because they're already boxed up and stuff like that, they can just go straight into a bubble envelope and they're good to go. 30th of August, I think this might be the last item for the month. Maybe one or two more, actually, thinking about it. This is the Logitech RRB5 wireless presenter pointer. So what this allows you to control a projector or laptop or PC if you're doing PowerPoint presentations or anything like that. Much like I am now doing this video, except I'm just pressing the keyboard because I'm sat close enough to it. This also has like a laser pointer built into it as well, so it's very much a presentational tool. It's made by Logitech, so it's a good quality brand. It had the dongle inserted in the back of it as well. If you're ever going to pick things like this up, do make sure they have the dongle with them, because you quite often need to plug a little USB stick or something like that into the laptop or projector or whatever you're using in order to have it communicate with the handheld device. It was covered in that sort of rubbery, grippy material that a lot of electronics were covered in a few years ago that goes absolutely rancid after a while. So cleaned all of that off it, and obviously made note in the listing that it did have this finish on it, and we've cleaned it off because it had gone, as it does over time, that type of finish, for some reason it seems to go really sort of sticky and gooey. So we got rid of that, and as you can see now, it's got quite a nice sheen on it there on the plastic. So yeah, cost £1 that one, sold for $29.94 and made £20.89 after shipping and fees there. Oh yeah, this will be the last item for the month. This is another genuine Apple plug. This is a 1401 US spec adapter. Came in a bundle of different adapters and stuff that I picked up. And as I've said before, I always put travel charger or travel adapter in the description, because more often than not, that's who you're going to be selling them to, people that are traveling. This one cost 25p, sold for $17.94 and made $11.14 after shipping and fees. So that is all of the items there, and now we just get into the totals. So the total cost of all of the items across part 1 and part 2 of August's sales roundup video was $188.11. The total value of the sales, so everything that's sold across both parts of this video, came to £2,053.42, and after shipping, fees, deductions, after everything, what I was left with profit in hand was $1,259.73. So it was a much better month than July, which was around about, I think from memory, around about the 800 quid mark, which was getting a little bit squeaky. This has been a little bit more of a comfortable month. We'll also have a really quick look at the promoted listing performance, as always. As you can see, this is dated from the 1st of August to the 31st of August. Over that period of time, spent £9.2 on promoted listings. That £9.2 generated 32 total sales with a value of £901.74. So again, another month where promoting my listings has definitely been worth it, and is definitely something I would recommend you all have a little look at and a play with as well. And guys, once again, that is everything for this month's sales roundup. So thank you so much for spending this time with me and listening to a crazy man prattle on about the things he sells on eBay. If you did enjoy the video, it'd be really great if you could leave me a thumbs up down below. If you didn't enjoy the video, you are of course very welcome to leave a thumbs down, but either way, please don't just thumb and run. Let me know in the comments down below what you did and didn't like, and I'll try and tailor the videos accordingly. Lastly guys, if you really enjoy the videos and you want to see more content, do feel free to click subscribe and give the bell a little tickle in the top corner there, and that'll notify you whenever I upload a new video, as sporadic as I am with them. So that was everything for today guys. Thank you so much for spending this time with me and listening. Take care and have a great day. Bye bye.